story follows a young lady who strongly believes she is a cyborg and claims she needs to consume batteries for nutrition. She goes through various harrowing experiences that will surely make you turn away from the screen. However, after all of that, she seems to find some sort of happy ending. So, what do you think will happen to this woman? Is she actually a cyborg, or just really struggling with her mental health? Let's find out together. You won't want to miss this. A majority of the film takes place at a mental institution, with a diverse mix of patients that all play some part in Young-gun's story. The movie primarily follows Cha Young-gun losing her touch with reality while working in a radio manufacturing factory. Young-gun truly believes with all of her being that she is a cyborg. In order to recharge her batteries, she begins cutting her wrists and hooking them up to wall outlets with a power cord. Although Young-gun clearly believes there is nothing wrong with her actions, doctors and officials perceive it as a suicide attempt. Young-gun has jet black hair, blonde eyebrows, and her grandmother's dentures on occasion, and honestly believes she is a cyborg, spending her time conversing with fluorescent lights and vending machines. A shot then pans to the factory where Young-gun is still in her chair, resting on the floor, and it is clear from her right foot that the jolt has recharged her inner battery, or so she thinks. Her toes even light up to demonstrate how charged she is. Young-gun is still clearly facing intense mental struggles, with her delusions including refusing to eat and instead licking batteries in the hopes that she can recharge herself. Due to the extent of her bizarre, harmful delusions, she is quickly placed in a mental institution. Young-gun has always been captivated by machinery, even from an early age, since they serve a very specific purpose. But she also lacks direction in life, which is mostly due to parental neglect. The mother of Young-gun is too preoccupied with her restaurant to pay attention to her daughter, which certainly didn't help her rapidly declining mental health. After finding out that her daughter was basically going crazy, Young-gun's mother claimed ignorance of her delusions. However, it is later revealed that she knew what was going on all along, but was too busy to assist her daughter in seeking help. Finally, her mother reveals that truth, and a conversation with a psychiatric hospital doctor brings us up to date on her story. The doctor is obviously attempting to figure out what's causing Young-gun's psychosis, but the interview with the mom implies that it could be a pretty serious issue that runs in their family. She reveals that Young-gun's mentally ill grandmother had previously been institutionalized for delusions where she believed she was a mouse, a trauma that sparks Young-gun's own lapses from reality and helps to explain the onset of her delusions. After finding out about her grandmother and her condition, she feels like she is the only one who can understand what her grandmother went through, and often fantasizes about tracking down the guys in white who kidnapped her. These images appear so frequently that it starts to make her appear even more insane to the doctors and orderlies at the hospital. Once Young-gun enters the mental institution, she meets the extraordinary residents of the place, who are a colorful bunch. They include a mythomaniac woman who creates stories to compensate for her memories, a man who is so polite he can't turn his back on anyone, a girl who dreams of only joining a yodeling choir, and Park Il-soon, an antisocial young man who is afraid of disappearing into a dot and has the extraordinary ability to steal other people's skills and qualities. However, Young-gun did not seem at all interested in any of them. Instead, she always spends her time conversing with various hospital devices, still believing that she herself is one of them, a cyborg. During her stay at the hospital, Young-gun fantasizes about Il-soon, a young male patient admitted to the hospital for antisocial behavior and kleptomania, both of which are symptoms of schizophrenia. Il-soon is described as having no sympathy and believes he can steal other people's souls and attributes, and enjoys frequently wearing handmade rabbit masks. Oh, and when he's nervous or agitated, he brushes his teeth obsessively because he believes he'll shrink into a dot. His practice of secretly taking the traits of his other patients has earned him a lot of criticism, but he only does so willingly and returns the traits to their owners after he's done with them. While Park Il-soon tries to overcome his antisocial tendencies by assisting other patients with their difficulties and taking their traits for a joyride, a story unfolds. He steals one patient's sorry attitude, another's singing voice, and Young-gun's sympathy, which happens to be a sin for a cyborg. When Young-gun is ridded of her sympathetic feelings, she begins the process that will enable her to kill the Whitens, who kidnapped her grandmother. The Whitens turn out to be the hospital doctors and nurses. When Young-gun persuades Il-soon to rid her of her sympathy, apathy, she has a nightmare about going on a rampage and slaughtering the hospital's doctors and staff members. She believes she has been recharged after receiving shock treatment as a result of her reluctance to eat. In actuality, while she believes it's due to a low battery, physicians claim her fragile physique is the result of her anorexia. Young-gun refuses to consume human food, preferring instead to replenish herself by licking batteries. The physicians resort to drastic measures, forcing her to eat. Il-soon, now filled with pity for Young-gun, devises a complex scheme to persuade her to eat by convincing her that he can implant a food-to-electrical energy conversion device, dubbed the Rice Megatron, in her back. She of course believes that right away, and begins to get slightly better. She begins eating again, much to the delight of the doctors and medical staff, but remains uncomfortable. Young-gun continuously keeps encountering her grandma in her nightmares, who wants to tell her what the point of her being here is. Young-gun ponders the meaning of a recurring dream in which her grandmother reveals the purpose of her existence. She deciphers the enigmatic message with Il-soon's help, which reveals that she is meant to destroy humanity by destroying herself and take everyone else with her. Young-gun and Il-soon quickly realize that high-voltage shock is the only method for her to detonate herself. So, she decides to go into a terrible storm with Il-soon, hoping that her radio's antenna has a lightning rod, interpreting the lip-reading message as she is a nuke bomb. However, if Young-gun wants to complete her goal to detonate, she'll need 1 billion volts to do it. The two of them figure out the best way to achieve this through lightning. They decide to have a picnic under a tent in the middle of a thunderstorm, waiting for the perfect moment so Young-gun can detonate, erasing humanity, or so she thought. An intravenous stand with wheels is fitted to the antenna, which sits on top of Young-gun. But little to her knowledge, Il-soon had secured a wine bottle cork to the antenna's top to prevent any actual electrocution or damage, similar to how he used the Rice Megatron to force her to eat. Il-soon did so to protect her without discouraging her and letting her play out her delusions. The story comes to an end with the storm roaring and the wind quickly sweeping their tent away, forcing them to scramble to secure their food supplies. It's at this moment that Young-gun realizes the wine bottle was open and collecting rain. Hearing her grumble in annoyance, Il-soon closes the hole with his small finger, secretly glad that he had prevented Young-gun from any real danger. The pair then decide to take off their damp socks and then their entire outfits, because they're wet. As the credits roll, we see the two of them making love on the tarp while watching a rainbow from over the horizon. I'm a Cyborg, But That's Okay is a dark, strange romantic comedy disguised as a lovely film about people's ability to be good to one another despite going through their own internal battles. It demonstrates that everyone has someone to love, and that love can be the most effective treatment, or at the very least, a starting point for recovery. This picture has a magical quality to it, and not simply because it employs magical realism. While it's an odd storyline, and there are some graphic scenes throughout, it's also amusing and extremely unique. What would you do if you were Il-soon? Would you help Young-gun on her quests, even though you know she is insane? Or would you try to talk some sense into her? Let us know. Thank you for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.